Steam でプレゼントしてもらったハーストーリーというゲームをそうもらっていたんだけど、申し訳ない、めちゃくちゃ忘れてました。というわけでやります。スタート。これ大丈夫？英語わからなくても大丈夫？これどういうゲームなんだろう。あ、ちゃんと日本語だ。ありがてえ。どういうこと？アーカイブにアクセスするための検索ワードを入力してください。殺人？怖いゲームじゃないよねこれ。コーナーストーン、クリップ、再生。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
ほう、私はどうすれば？
Yeah, that's me. But February? I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
ほう、殺人と何の関係が？
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that. Stories.
ちょっともう一回聞かせて。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help? Yeah, that's me. But February? I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
サイモンの殺人。サイモン。サイモン。あ、いっぱい出てきた。52個のクリップ。
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work. Mirror making, feature windows, artistic things. Really beautiful things.
なるほど、アーティスティックな仕事をしていたと。
It's the Rockington Arms, The Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
サイモンが追っかけてるバンドがあったと。
Yes, there's an Amstrad one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games, you know, climb the tower, save the princess, that kind of thing. Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy. Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next? Yeah, thanks. Please find Simon. I love him so much.
なるほど。これ以上はない。52個のクリップが見つかってるけど全部は見れないってことか。じゃあまず
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass.
アームス
They
ト
do
ブラザー
windows, all
ズ
kinds of glass.
アー
Simon
ム
does the more
ストブ
special
ラザ
work.
ーズ
Mirror
アームストブラザーズ
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers
あー
Glass.
特に新し
They
い
do
情報はない
windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work. Mirror making, feature windows, artistic things. Really beautiful things.
これは主人公は何を探してるんだ。あ、サイモンだっけ。ちょっと待って。サイモン。何かの追っかけをしてたんだよね。
It's the Rockington Arms.
ザ・ロッ
The
ク。
Rock. It's run by a nice
ザ・ロ
couple.
ック。ザ・ロック。
So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all
Eric.
day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job, but he didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
金曜の夜。
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Rock. We've spoken to everyone there. Someone must have seen where he went. I don't know. So many things could have gone wrong.
これ違う人だね。あ、違う、同じ人か。ごめん。エリック。いっぱい出た。
He was wearing a shirt. It's a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house. Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier, and a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked in the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back.
バンの鍵。
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash, but Eric convinced him to get one. Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
ダイアン。ちゃう。おお、出た。
Diane is really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there.
2人の子供がいた。
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
グラスゴー
Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diana's a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off Ceefax, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
フェンネル実績解除ってことはフェンネル大事なのか
Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing. And they get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
なぜかギターを持っているもう一回フェンネルだっけフェンネルわかんないちょっと待ってフェンネルこれだけか
Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diana's a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off Ceefax, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines.
ふむダイアンもう一回見てこれなんかあったよな
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
グラスゴーグラスゴーおう
I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
うん
Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
うん
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
うん
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
タクシーおう
A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off, I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve, so my parents let me off.
Eve.
It's like I told you before, I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon.
花イブと花ちょっと待ちおーいっぱい出るねこれ以上は 見れないのかなあ、アクセスできるのは最初から5番目のクリップまでユーザーセッションに保存されたクリップあ気になるの保存できるのか今気づいたじゃあこれからは保存していきましょう
My name is Hannah. H-A-N-N-A-H. It's Pandre. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it though, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith, I live at 31 Gladstone Street. What are you doing talking about Eve? Poor Simon.
今のトントンはなんかありそうだな。モールス信号か
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
ん自分を花だと思ってるわけじゃないよな。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
お今一瞬ドキッとしたけど今誰私は誰花もしかして、
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place.
私は誰なんだ。とりあえずイブを調べましょうか。
Well, my friend Eve. I mean, she was a friend from when I was a kid, and she was always more popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes. Yes. We'd fight. We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up afterward. It was a love-hate relationship. My mother called me Eve.
母は私をイブと呼んだ。
My mother called me Eve.
どういうこと？どういうことだ？インスタントファイルアクセスってなんだ？何もなかった。じゃあ病院。
Ask the hospital.
病院に連絡して。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving. I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital?
なんでその病院に行きたがるんだ？
It's like I told you before. I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon.
他に何かあったかな。じゃあ赤ちゃん。おお。
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday. We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope. It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Simon's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed and that's when I called the police.
死体を見つけた箱。死体、なんかこれ重要そうな感じがするな。
And when I woke up, okay. I woke up. Simon was already up, and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake. Children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. It turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left. 1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful. Because of the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. A forensic entomologist. I had to look that up. It was because of the heat. It's just awful.
何から調べようか。
1984
1984年
was an awful year in the end.
1984特に何もないか。そっかそっか。で、もう一つ気になる単語がありました、ね。
1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents.
エレノア検索したっけな。エレノアは特にダグとエレノアダグヒットするね。
I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very worried. I feel sorry for them. I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us, there's always been pressure. I hoover, I dust every week. maybe less. I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust, and she said, if people ask, tell them you do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay. I think she was just trying to make me feel better. I mean, when I was there, she was hoovering every day, ran an ordered house. You know how that generation is, putting on a brave front. She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes. When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental, next to the Reader's Digest books. Cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack. I mean, all those years of marriage, and she still has a secret like that. Okay. I parked up in the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly in the living room. Nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. Eleanor?
エレノも気になる。エレノは後で死体のことも調べたいな。
Yes. I speak with Eleanor at least once a day. Not that there's anything much to say. It's more just...
特に話すことがあるわけじゃないけど、実績解除。よくわからんな。なんかこぼしてたけど。
The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes. I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen. I found the body. His body. It didn't look real. And his throat. It looked like his throat had been cut. And I didn't see his glasses. He has these thick glasses. He doesn't always wear.
メガネ、喉。
Really? Okay. Here's the rest. Oh, they laid a body on the doctor. Oh, the wind and the rain. Till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. On a dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. On a dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs flames of the fingerbones. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made little pegs from the finger bones. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce a heart of stone. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
風と雨。もう一曲あるのか。
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No, it's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. But he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain. With a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So she pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Out comes the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. Father dear, here swims and swan. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And then it gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
伝統的バラードはどう？いや、いい歌ですね。妹と姉か。
When she went home, Sam had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had. She knew that instant. The look on his face. She knew.
ちょいちょい映るこの私は誰なんだ？
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant.
ちょいちょい何気進むと BGM が
Yes, that's my birthday. Not one of the big ones, but I guess you can see that. It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present. No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
妊娠について
I got pregnant. Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married.
で既婚だったわけだ
No. I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after. Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back, me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there. Yes, I'm fine. I won't be sick again. This happens some days. I'm pregnant. It's morning sickness.
アンチグレア。なるほど。字幕はいる。あとなんか検索してないことあったかな。姉は？いや特にないか。
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed, and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile.
箱？特にないか。両親。これ違う。両親。見てないのがある。
Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents. 流産か。 Yeah. They'd gone to bed feeling ill, thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me, I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in their bed. And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed. Just awful. It was so soon after my miscarriage. The worst year of my life. I'd been so happy to get married, and after that it was just like, fuck. Yeah. I mean, I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after the miscarriage because of complications. Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile. Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again. But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Eric had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The blood. It's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Okay? I've given blood before. Do you need to take that for your records?
血液を提供
Well, fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people had been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. I mean, worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't lived in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in. As good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So, like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been cut. There was a lot of blood. Yeah, he was dead.
No.
The whole thing was wrong. The bags, I think they were from our kitchen. You can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
It
happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. we'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
自白。
Well, she has a knife. She's been cooking, I guess. She's been cooking him his favourite meal. She's his wife. And he's asleep and she doesn't want to wake him because he's ill. That's why she's sad. Because he's ill and he might die. It's kind of a sad story, so I'm not sure how it ends.
あれ、もしかして全部同じ人じゃないこのコーナーストーンって人だと思ったんだけど、違う人？もしかして。イブのことは検索したっけ？あ、検索したな。
My mother called me Eve.
Room B。ルーム3。全部別の人だったの？私、同じ人が別の日のことかと思ってた。ルーム3。ルーム3。ルーム B。え？私のことをイブと呼んだ。母。
Yeah, when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though. I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till. Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad. She's trapped. She's here. She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out. I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
Sarah. Eva.イブは見たよね。イヴァにしようとしたんだよね。関係ないか。さて、
Really? Okay. Here's the rest. Oh, they laid a body on the dock to dry. Oh, the wind and the rain. Till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. On a dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. On a dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the
フィドル。フィドルってやったっけな。フィドルやってみようか。あれ？フィドル。これだけか。ペグ。これだけか。この人が出るようにするべきってこと？
It happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes.
鏡。
They're gone. We took him down to the cellar.
あった。
It wasn't the present so much. It was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The present was a mirror, a nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story. He made it specially for me. The mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
2階。
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house. I knocked on the door. No answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack. I shouted out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. He wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it. Then I came out and I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
エリックって調べたっけ？あ、エリック調べてたな。あとはリードミーロジックデータベースについて。コンピューターテクノロジーは現代の警察活動の根源を担うものであり、このロジックデータベースは我々の仕事の流れをデジタル化し、より活用しやすい形で証拠を保存するための試みの一つです。犯罪に対処するための最重要ツールとしてコンピューターの需要は今後も一層高まっていくことが予想されています。このデータベースにはポーツマスの凶悪犯罪関連アーカイブより集めたビデオ映像が収納されています。ポーツマス？データは ASR テクノロジーによって自動的に整頓され、各証言は個別のクリップに分割されて保存されているため、それぞれにキーワードを追加するタグをつけることで法廷への提出の際などに活用することができます。クリップを取得するには検索ボックスに言葉を入力する必要があり、例強盗、言葉を入力して検索を押すとその言葉が含まれるクリップが検索されます。また半角スペースで区切って複数の言葉を入力することで検索の幅を狭めることもできます。なるほど。強盗スーパーマーケット。テープを文字に起こした資料などが手元にある場合は、発言の全文をダブルクォーテーションで囲うことでその発言と完全に一致するクリップを見つけ出すことも可能です。その場所にいたわ。検索したクリップを後で参照したい場合はセッションに保存をクリックしてください。またタグボックスに任意のキーワードを追加しておくとその言葉からクリップを検索できるようになります。その他の質問に関しては所属する署内の IT 担当者にお問い合わせください。ポリスインフォメーションテクノロジーオーガナイゼーション。ポーツマスって何？関係なかった。じゃあユーザンと両親じゃあエリック電話だけで一回検索するか。いっぱいあるね。
A mobile phone? Yeah. Well, they have one for the glaziers, but it's only for work. I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle. Sure? Yes, of course, if that would help. Will you phone the house to let me know when you want to come round? Then I can make sure that I'm there. I mean, I don't know. Something must have happened to him on his way home. He could be hurt. I mean, why hasn't he phoned? I don't know.
じゃあ電話エリック。特にこれといったものはないか。鏡。2階。特にないか。鏡が13もあるから何かしらあるかなと思ったけど。サイモン。間違えた。殺人ってなんだよ。殺人。これだけか。サイモン死。おう。
It's all that matters, really. The baby. Simon's dead, but the baby, that's how he will live on. Our baby.
またこの BGM が。
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
Oh.
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat.
で隠したと。隠した人と見つけた人は別だと。
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly?どん詰まりになってきたな。見たか。
うん。3時もあったな。3時もおう。
I think when I drove back it was about 8 or something. And I got back to the house about 3.
うん。よいしょっと。おう。
On his throat. How?
どうして？
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
はあ、なるほど。でもさっきの鏡のワードではこれだけか。鏡というワードが多かったっけな。そうだ、13もあるからなかったんだ。おっと、同じ見た目だったってこと？おっと。
Twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question? Are you out of your mind? Twins? There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
Hmm. 何かが分かりそうな気がするんだけどな。
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put...
屋根裏か。
Yes, I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play out there and make up our own stories. Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
髪の毛。
I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, and gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
人形同じか。屋根裏に何かがあった。物語。
Yes, like a story. A beginning, a middle, and an end. We were obsessed with fairy tales. Not just the pretty, pretty ones, but the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures, Rapunzel's hair is cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger.
髪か。
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo instead of spring photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have.
Bomba.
It's Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince, and Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. So she throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind, but she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much?
ハッピーエンド。どう？
What kind of hairs?
髪の毛。ラプンツェルよく出るな。
Sorry. The picture, the way it's drawn, just reminded me of the books we used to read as children. I read those fairy tales over and over, and they were so real to me. Rapunzel was my favourite. My brain is just full of it. Are any of these in colour? Did I pass? Sorry, I messed it up with all that Rapunzel stuff. Do you need me to do that card again?
カード。じゃあ何があるかなと。
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
夢か。待て。
No, I was 15. Carl was older, 17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It's stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
カール。家族。
Florence was a warm, kind person. But she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers, letters, that kind of thing. her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand. I guess I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know.
再開。マイクがちょっともう一回これ。
No, I was 15. Carl was older.
Carl.
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit, but he was sexy. We were 15.
それでつながると。
Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon. Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car. Learned that you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl. Hannah met him first. She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses. After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon. Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date, we went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet. We only had one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me. But that was it. We didn't want another Carl on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back. After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
Hannahとイブ。なんかあるな、これは。
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. Mum was amazed.
どういうこと？二重人格？違うな。イブと花2人いたけど、それは両親も認識していなかったってことでしょ？えーっとDB チェッカーって何？データベースチェッカー。1個のファイルが見つかりません。 時間は今と連動してるっぽいけど日にちは違うな。Really read me。 こいつがデータベースだ。情報公開法に沿って申請し、ゲストとしてのアクセス権を取得しておいたよ。見たところちゃんと機能しているようだな。オリジナルのビデオテープからの移行は1999年に行われたみたいだが、その後の Y2K 騒ぎやなんやらでこいつは放置されたままになっていたようだ。残念ながら刑事の映像が入ったサーバーの方は見つけられなかった。あるいは1997年の洪水の際にやられてしまったのかもな。何にせよこれだけでも情報としては十分なはずだ。 SB。 誰
No, it's okay. The other detective has just gone to get me one.
何を
Must think it's very cool that their dad is a police detective. They said it was food poisoning. There was something in the food they ate. My dad liked to pick mushrooms, grow them too. They said it was the mushrooms. It was hard to believe. Death caps. They have a skirt around the cap. My dad taught me that. But, the police had no reason to think it was suspicious. They lived alone. And no one had any reason to hurt them. At the time they said it was poison, food poisoning. I felt so guilty. If I'd still been at home, maybe I could have done something. I didn't.
あと何があるかな。この花がすごい多いのが気になるんだよね。私にイブと言った。花と何を組み合わせればいいんだろう。わからん。
Florence was a warm, kind person.
フローレンスか。
Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion. Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror. She was me. No, it was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
人がイブで花が花
My name is Hannah. Hannah. It's Pandre. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work from mirror though, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
Smith.さっきなんて言ったっけ?
My name is Hannah. Hannah. It's Pandre. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work from mirror though, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
ブラッドストーン。関係ないか。
Florence was a warm, kind person. But she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers,
日記か。
letters, that kind of thing. Her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand, I guess. I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. It helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page. When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point, and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day, and I left. Walked out and across the street.
どんな感じで終わったのか。いや、終わったって送ってみるか。あ、送れない、送れない。SB は誰なんだ。あるなんて読むのこれ。母さんがなぜあんなことをしたのか。母さん、娘なのか。よかったよ、サラ。外で待ってるからログオフして出てきてくれ。事故で殺しちゃってそんで隠しちゃったってことだよね、とりあえず。でつい隠しちゃったけど、でイブと花の関係がまだちょっとよく分かってないけど、難しいゲームですねこれ。こんな人、出た見た気がする。いや見てない気がする。いや見た気がする。いや分かんなくなってきた。母はイブをイブって見抜いたんだよね。サラか。 難しいゲームだな。なんか分かったようで分かんないような、分かんないようで分かったような。さら、if you're stuck 何なんて書いてあったの？英語わかんないよ。ハーストーリーコンティニューしたらどうなる？やり直しか。じゃあ一旦ここでおしまいとしましょうか。お疲れー。バイビー。